Hello, welcome back to Jerry Mosley Video Store Clerk at the video store. Today I'm going to talk about A Quiet Place 2. I'm going to keep it non-spoiler at first. That way, if you haven't seen it, you can, watch a little bit of the review. But I'll warn you before I go into spoilers. So, I guess all I can really say non-spoiler is if you saw and liked the first one, definitely go see the second one. It's awesome. I'd say it's even better than the first, which is rare. um, and that's pretty much all I'm gonna say in non-spoiler. Is if you like the first, go see it. Go see it. If you haven't seen the first, watch the first one. Go see the second one. It's great. All right, so I'm about to go into spoilers. So if you don't want it spoiled, stop this till you see the movie and then come back and see my review. So, I'll give you a few seconds in case you're off doing something and you're like, no, I don't want to hear it. You can come back and hit stop. Okay, so part two. When it starts, we go back to day one and it shows how the monsters kind of got here. Doesn't overly explain it, you just see what is a ship coming. I can assume that's what it was. I mean, nothing else would explain it. And in this opening scene, we pick up with the family that was in part one. We got John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, Millicent Simmons, who plays the deaf girl, who is actually deaf in real life. Great actress. So we get the entire family at the beginning. Um, but of course, after it shows day one, but we also get introduced to Cillian Murphy's character in the opening. So I wasn't expecting that. In the trailers, I knew they run into Cillian Murphy, but I didn't expect us to actually see that they knew him beforehand. So that's pretty cool. He's at the ball game that the movie starts at. Um, After that, after the opening and we see day one, we cut directly to where part one ended. Picks up at the pretty much moment part one ended. So we're not even picking up a day, a week later. We are right there. Picking up at the end credits of part one. So, of course, if you've seen part one, you know the dad dies, John Krasinski. The baby was born, and they figured out how to kill the monsters. So, the family, the house is burning and all that, so they're like, we gotta go to where we saw this barrel burning in part one, where they'd signal, where people were. And they end up at a steel mill where Cillian Murphy's at. He was at the steel mill, and so they go there, and he had lost his family, and so they, want to stay there, but he's lost his whole family, and he doesn't really want to help them. He's kind of a broken character, and when in getting there, the brother stepped in like a bear trap, crushed his foot, so he's real injured, and the mom and all them are trying to take care of him. And um, they're still listening to the radio like the dad was in part one, trying to hear any radio station, any signs there's still life out there. And they hear the Bobby Darin song Beyond the Sea. And they're like, oh my God, there's a song playing. And Cillian Murphy's like, yeah, it's been playing the whole time. And Millie's like, no, like my dad would have heard it. And he's like, no, our houses were in the valley, you couldn't hear it. But here we can hear it. Well, she deciphers it and finds out that the Beyond the Sea is a message telling them where the radio station is. And she finds it on the map, and it's like this island, and she wants to get there. And she wants to get there to broadcast the feedback from her hearing aid across the radio so they can use it as the weapon to kill the monsters. And she tells her brother this, and probably one of the best acted scenes of the movie between Millie and her brother, where she's like, I gotta go on this mission, I gotta take this to the radio station. And the brother's like, no, I'll tell mom if you go, you can't go do that. And anyway, but they keep having these conversations in this furnace that's in this steel mill building, and it's cool because they have this towel that they keep in the latch so the furnace won't lock, and they have a timer in the furnace to time it so they won't run out of oxygen. But every time somebody gets in this furnace and you see the towel catch the latch, you're like, man, this is like Hitchcock. This is letting you know this is gonna mess up. Somebody's gonna not use the towel and get locked in the furnace, and So anyway, the Cillian Murphy, he wants them gone the next day. He doesn't want them staying there with him. He claims he don't have the food and resources to take care of them and stuff. But when they wake up the next day, Millie's gone. She's gone on her little mission to take her hearing aid to this radio station. Then Mom begs Cillian Murphy to go bring her back. And so he sets off to go bring Millie back. And the mom stays with the son and the baby. And of course, they got the soundproof box with the baby and the oxygen mask. So while Cillian Murphy and Millie are off on their adventure, Emily Blunt has to go get another oxygen tank for the baby in the soundproof box. And it's pretty cool how the movie splits up the two stories and they kind of parallel each other because um, while Emily Blunt's gone on her mission, um, for some reason the son goes exploring and he alerts one of the monsters that comes after him. And when Millie and Cillian Murphy get to the island, one of the monsters drift to the island and they can't swim. So it was on a boat and it drifted to the island. So when Emily Blunt returns, she's confronting the monster that the son lured there while Millie and everybody's dealing with the monster on that island. And of course, the towel set up. The son took the baby in the furnace and it latched. He can't get out. There's no oxygen. And she's gone to get new tanks because the tank that they've been using for the baby is, about empty. So the son's trying to get oxygen for him and the baby, but the tank's running out and they got to deal with that. Just really good suspense. Cillian Murphy and Millie had to deal with some people that are not, that are about as wild and feral as the monsters are at this point. And the way that resolves is really cool, like real suspenseful because you're like, oh my god, what is going to happen? And I'm looking at the time, I'm like, this movie doesn't have long left. They can't get captured and have this extended escape because the movie doesn't have much longer on it. So anyway, they get away from them, get to the island. Now they're dealing with the monster on the island. Mom and son and baby is dealing with this monster. And on the island, eventually Millie gets to um, her mission where she gets to the radio station, puts her hearing aid to the mic at the radio station, and the monster in the studio with them is, the head's all open and she kills it. And the son, back with the mom and the baby, has his headphones on and hears that feedback on the radio and unplugs it and uses the radio to kill the monster where they're at. Really cool double ending where they're both facing off with their monsters and boom. I mean, just great suspense all throughout. I mean, there's a scene where Millie's in a train on her way when she's alone doing the mission, and in the background blurry, you see a monster coming across the seats on the train. It's just, I mean, for some reason, it seems like comedy guys are really nailing horror these days. Like Jordan Peele making Get Out and Us, I think, are some of the best horror movies we've had in a while. And Krasinski making these, I think, because horror and comedy, there's a lot to do with mood and timing and kind of the what makes you laugh without being able to help it. It's almost the same thing that makes you tense and in the suspense moment. So I don't know. I just think comedy people might just have a knack for horror. But so yeah, I mean, just a great horror movie. It's PG-13, but you never feel that it's PG-13. I mean, in this kind of movie, they attack so fast that you don't really go, oh man, there's no gore. But I'm not a big fan of gore anyway. But the Quiet Place movies, they make the most of a PG-13 horror movie. Like, I mean, you don't feel like you're getting gypped at all at being PG-13. So, I mean, I'd have to give it 5 out of 5 stars. There's nothing about this movie that I was like, oh man, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do this? And in fact, there's so many moments I thought this was going to happen, but then it didn't. And I just like when a movie you can't predict it. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So, yeah, I'd give it 5 stars. Definitely highly recommend it. Me and Dad went and saw it, and we went on Thursday, the day before it officially opened, because on Thursday they streamed a live Q&A after it, and it was pretty cool. It was only like 30 minutes, and they had some questions people had asked on Twitter, and then people in the room asked questions. And it was your basic, how was it working with this person and that person questions that, it's interesting to hear, but it's like not anything out of the box. But what was cool is Krasinski did confirm that they've already greenlit part 3, so a part 3 will be coming, but Krasinski himself is not going to write nor direct it. But, he didn't write the first one, he just directed it, so that could be cool. And it does seem like they're going to continue with the same family, so that'd be awesome. But yeah, I mean, all in all, 5 stars, highly recommend it. Go see it in theaters. Let's just support some horror movies because, especially with how everything's going to HBO Max and stuff these days. I mean, if you're a fan of theaters, we got to get out there and, buy tickets so they'll keep putting movies in theaters because, man, it just really suck if all of a sudden you couldn't see anything in theaters. So, you know, it's definitely worth getting out of your house and going to see. So, go check it out. Um. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry I've been gone for so long. I got hit with that cellulitis, and for almost a month I was barely able to walk. So it just got me out of the habit of doing videos all the time, and it's hard to get back into it. But I'm trying. So please watch and support this. Like, share, all that. Tell your friends to tune in. I've got videos other than movie reviews. I've got silly, crazy stories I tell, and the character Willie Ray and stuff. So, I appreciate anybody who watches and those who share it, like it, and all that. So, thank you. I'm gonna try and come back and maybe do a review of Nobody, Godzilla and King Kong, Mortal Kombat, just stuff I've seen in the theaters and haven't done a video on. But I just thought I'd start with A Quiet Place too, because this was the movie I was most looking forward to. Right after Invisible Man, this did play for like literally a couple days, and they pulled it for Corona, and I didn't think it was going to come back. So I was really excited when it came back to theaters. And I don't know, it's just a movie I was really looking forward to. So, this was the perfect movie to get me back to doing this. So, yeah, like I just really appreciate anybody who takes the time to watch my videos. So I'm gonna try and keep them coming. Thank you guys.